Dear CSN readers, good morning and welcome to this very special event, The Voices of Women in Maritime, in celebration of International Maritime Women's Day, a day dedicated not only to recognizing the achievements of women in the maritime industry, but also to reflecting on the work still needed to create a more equal, inclusive, and progressive sector. Today, we are joined by 5 exceptional women, each of whom has carved her own path, overcome significant challenges, and inspired many along the way. They come from different corners of the maritime world, from policy and leadership to operations, technology, insurance, and energy. But what unites them is a shared commitment to progress, empowerment, and meaningful change. It is worth noting that all our panelists have served as presidents of WISTA Cyprus, with the only exception of the shipping deputy minister. WISTA Cyprus is an organization at the forefront of promoting women in shipping, and with Anna Pitalis, who is currently serving as president and carrying the torch forward with energy and vision. Allow me to introduce them. Marina Hadjimanolis, shipping deputy minister of Cyprus. Despina Panagiotou Theodosiou, co-CEO of Tototheo Global, former president of WISTA International, and the first recipient of the IMO Gender Equality Award. Anna Vourgos, director of Afendrika Marine Insurance Brokers and former president of WISTA Cyprus. Natalia Berry-Loyal, chief operations officer at Tototheo Global and former president of WISTA Cyprus. And last but not least, Anna Pitalis, commercial director, head of shipping and trading Intergas Limited, and current president of WISTA Cyprus. Throughout this panel, we'll dive into their personal journeys, pivotal moments, and the ways in which they have challenged the status quo. We'll also hear their insights on what it takes to lead, to empower others, and to envision a maritime industry where gender is no longer a barrier, but simply a part of the story. So, without further delay, let's begin the conversation. Minister, during your tenure as shipping deputy minister of Cyprus, what was the greatest resistance you faced when trying to promote gender equality in the maritime sector?
Good morning, Adanis, and allow me first to thank you for this great initiative today, together with 4 powerful women that I'm very proud to call my friends after 2 years at this position. So I have to say that when I took over, I realized what I have been hearing when I was outside of this sector, that it is a male-dominated sector. And I think that this is mainly caused because of the social barriers that we have as a nation. Yes. And that was the most important thing for us when I took over, together with the Commissioner of Gender Equality, to find solution, to find a way in order to break these male-dominated barriers. And I think that after 2 years, we have managed, together and with the Commissioner, but also with WISTA Cyprus and WISTA International, to find the ways in order for our voice to be heard. And I believe that the collaboration is the biggest weapon that we have, especially as the women. We appreciate the work that is being done by each and everyone sitting here together. So that was something that we identified from the beginning. It will take us a long time in order to say that we have reached the conclusion of all that. But I'm very positive that we are on a good way and that we will find the solutions at the end to achieve that.
Despina, Minister mentioned the male-dominated industry. As a female CEO that you are, was there any particular moment in when you truly felt that you earned the respect of your peers?
I do not believe it was a specific moment throughout my career. I think it was a continuous journey. I agree, it's a male-dominated industry, so I found myself having to prove myself often in ways that others didn't have to. But what I very consciously focused on throughout my career was to lead with vision, actions, and results, and focused on building trust So I'm very proud. I believe I have fostered an environment within our company that promotes collaboration and innovation. And in this way, I think we have proved that diverse teams can promote innovation in our industry. I'm proud of where we've come, but I think there's still a long journey ahead. And I'm glad that with many like-minded people in the industry, like the minister, the ladies that are here with us today, and many others in the industry that are interested in diversity, we keep pushing forward.
Anna, Despina is in the technology sector, you are in the insurance, marine insurance sector, which is a very specialized field. What has been the biggest challenge you face as a woman professional in this area?
I have to say that the biggest challenge wasn't being a woman. The biggest challenge was being a young woman. I joined the industry, the insurance industry, when I was 19 years old. I was working and studying at the same time. The insurance industry, for those that may not be familiar with it, is actually very male-dominated and still is compared to shipping. I believe shipping has moved on much faster.
Ship owning, you mean?
The shipping industry in itself, because we belong in both the shipping industry and the insurance industry, which is a completely different industry. The insurance industry still has more steps to take than the shipping industry. But when you consider that I started in 1987, and in those days, to be a decision maker, to be a senior, a CEO, or I don't even think the CEO was a term in those days. It was managing director or director, the C levels.
Manager.
So, as a 19-year-old girl, I had to deal with insurers and underwriters that were in their 60s. That meant I had to deal with people that were born in 1930. I think that puts that into perspective of, you know, the 50, 60-year gap. That was a bigger gap to cover. But I was lucky. I worked for a company that promoted women. And to be honest, then coming to Cyprus and joining the shipping industry, I was embraced. But being young and a woman is a bigger challenge than just being a woman trying to fit in an industry.
Natalia, back to technology again, and you oversee operations in a tech-driven company with a traditionally male, again, and dominated sector. Although I'm not 100% sure that the technology, especially programming, is male-dominated. What was the biggest barrier you've had to overcome in this role?
Without diminishing any of the external factors or circumstances, let's say, that could be barriers. I have to say that the biggest barrier, and I think the most important one and the biggest breakthrough, was an internal one. Once you realize that there is no reason or validity in trying to conform to existing behaviors or approaches or mindsets, and you start to trust your own instincts, have the confidence to apply your own unique leadership style, your own way of thinking, that's when really things start to change, opportunities appear, and you really can make a difference. You can inspire others, because this is seen and this is perceived by peers, by colleagues, and by everybody. And that's when you start to gain everybody's trust and make them believe in your abilities to lead and move forward and really make change happen.
Thank you, Natalia. Anna, coming to you from the energy sector, what are the key challenges faced by women working in the energy sector, and how it intersects with the maritime?
Well, the energy sector, especially when paired with maritime, it is still very much male-dominated, both at sea and in the boardroom. Both industries, they are deeply interconnected. I mean, energy relies on maritime for transportation, for logistics, infrastructure. So the challenges faced by women, they often overlap. So I would say the biggest challenge is visibility. There simply aren't enough women in senior positions. And this makes it hard for others to follow in their footsteps or even imagine themselves in these positions. And it's not just about being taken seriously, it's more about having to constantly prove your capabilities in environments where you often are the only woman in the room. And this can feel isolating. And also...
I'm sure all felt the same thing sometimes. Yeah,
I was the only woman in 110.
Wow.
Yeah.
A meeting of 110.
No, not in a meeting, in the working, in the company.
Wow.
I will not say about politicians on this aspect.
Yes.
And let me also refer to one other challenge, which is very important. It's the balance between the professional, the demanding role, and the personal responsibilities. And I know this is something that is shared among all women here. We all share the same pressures. And still this balance falls disproportionately on women. And in industries that operate 24/7, like energy and maritime, this balance can be even more complex.
Thank you.
May I add on that, that Anna said that most people does not understand that on a high positions, we show that we can handle everything, but on the back side, we continue to be mothers, we continue to be daughters, we continue to be all the rest. And the balance, it's one of the most difficult factors in order to be able to keep it going.
And
Otherwise,
what
you will
balance?
not be able to proceed with your dreams.
Yeah.
What would you change, Minister? What would be this one thing that you could change in the shipping industry to make it more inclusive for women?
I would say that changes are happening, and as we speak, things are moving forward. But what I want to see is more role models, and not only in my country, but also internationally. And we have seen leaders like the Secretary General of the IMO and many other taking the front and saying that, like, I will not sit on a panel if a woman is not in a panel. These changes must come from more people all around the world, because in every country we are doing a lot. And I'm very proud that we are doing as a Cyprus, and we're leading it, especially the gender equality. And as you have said before, the fact that Despina was awarded as the first woman in the IMO, that was a huge respect and a success from all around the world for Cyprus. But for the new generation, in order to embrace shipping, they need to see not only women, but also men in their role, inspiring them. And our generation was very lucky because we had a lot of role models. But these days, I think that we need to motivate the international
On international
level in order to promote more and to speak to the new generation about their experiences.
Talking about experiences, Despina, what would be this one little piece of advice that you could give to your young, I mean, let's say 10 years ago yourself? What would be that? What would be this little advice that you could give to your young yourself?
The advice I would give to my younger self or any young woman or person entering the industry is definitely to trust your strength, your inner strength, and also to understand and believe that your voice matters. You've mentioned, all of us mentioned, I think we all found ourselves being the only woman in the room. And especially early on in my career, I found myself many times as the only woman in the room. And sometimes I doubted that I belonged. But I learned that with continuous learning and resilience and holding true to yourself and your values, then it's the only way to go forward, but also to help others move forward. I would also say have a strong network around you, have people around you that not only support you, but also challenge you. And also, don't be afraid to take risks, because I have seen through my career that it's when we step out of our comfort zone that we're able to achieve more.
Anna, you managed several crises throughout your career. Was there one in particular that left a lasting impact on you professionally?
You're asking an insurance person to pick the single crisis that marked my career of 38 years.
Actually, you are the best one to answer this question.
I want to hear the
Well,
answer
it depends whether you want to talk financial crisis, whether you want to talk shipping crisis, whether you want to
Choose one
talk
yourself, my dear.
geopolitical. Okay, we deal with marine casualties. And obviously, every marine casualty is a crisis to the company that is going through it. And as insurance brokers, in our capacity, it's a huge burden and responsibility on us to ensure that the promise that was given to them is actually delivered in the response of the insurance. So that's for us, every serious marine casualty. And we've had ships stuck in the Ukraine when the war broke. We had ships hit in Odessa. We had a ship hit in the Gulf of Aden by the Houthi with fatalities, having to repatriate crew, having to deal with that situation and all that. That is definitely something that left its mark. But I believe the one single, if I had to single out one crisis that challenged me personally, was COVID. Because of the restrictions that we had, the restrictions that the countries were imposing, the discrimination we were facing against the seafarers, that was a huge problem for us, because effectively we could not step up, perform, and assist and do our job. Never mind trying to coordinate your team remotely and all that. We all got used to that through the second month. But going through a year of not being able to land sick crew members and have them on board, as a result of which some of them passed away because they were not allowed the medical care, having to tell a ship owner that he's got to carry a dead body for a whole month before being able to find a country that would allow you to repatriate that body. That was, I think, the biggest crisis that we all faced.
Indeed,
particularly for us, it was the biggest challenge.
Indeed, I didn't think about the COVID, actually, yes. Natalia, back to digital. Do you believe digital transformation in shipping is opening new doors for women in the field?
It's a tricky question. When one thinks about technology, it doesn't really have the image of the most diverse sector either, like shipping. However, what it has done for shipping is it has transformed the industry. It continues to transform it, and I believe it will continue to transform it on many levels. And yes, it does open new job roles with new skill sets required, which makes it much more approachable for young women and young professionals in general. However, what I think really matters and what technology has done for shipping really is it has challenged the traditional business models. It has challenged the way we think, it has challenged the way we did things. And as a consequence, we are much more open to other changes as well, such as more diversity, such as giving opportunities, and allowing a more inclusive workspace, let's say, and work environment.
Okay. Anna, was there a moment in your career when you felt you had to prove your worth twice over because of your gender?
Absolutely.
Really?
Twice, 3 times. And I think
How did you handle
this
it?
could be common. I mean, other women in the industry would agree. And I may sound repetitive to what Despina had mentioned earlier, but this is truth. I mean, we have experienced this. Early on in my career, walking into meetings where I would be the only woman in the room, and there was this unspoken pressure to prove that I belonged. And of course, in those situations, I focused on preparation, on building trust through consistent results, and on professionalism. And over time, this consistency speaks for itself.
Yeah.
But you know, to be honest, I never let this kind of pressure shake my confidence. I let it fuel me. It pushed me to grow.
Good. Minister, what was the toughest lesson you learned throughout your journey and how it shaped you as a leader?
I would say that the world constantly awaits, especially from women, all the time to prove yourself. And I think that was the hardest thing, in order that I had to understand from a very young age that nothing is given to you, that you have constantly to create everything, to create your path, and to prove to others that you are not only better, but you are equal to them. And I think for women, this is much harder than men. And what I had always tried to do is to turn the challenges into opportunities. And this is what I encourage children when I go to schools, to try to persuade them to follow a career in maritime and in shipping. And I tell them that an opportunity will always appear. And they need to believe in themselves, like all these women believed in themselves, and look where they are today. So the opportunity will come, but they must be ready when the opportunity comes
To grab it.
And to prove that you're not only equal, as I said before, but you are better than any other one in the sector. And this is something that is continuously, something that you need all the time to put a lot of effort. But I truly believe that things, as I said before, are changing, and that together with the collaboration with everybody, that we will be able to make the dreams, especially of the young generations, to happen. Because it's important, and let me say that when we go to schools, usually we take people that are much more older, because we feel that they have the experience to speak to them. But the young generation doesn't want this. The young generation wants younger people to go and speak to them how themselves were able to overcome all these barriers. And so we need to listen much more. And we need to
bridge the gap.
Yes, in order to persuade them. Otherwise, it will not be.
Maybe even using social media in this respect as well. I mean, you see that it is applying to all kids now. They are all on their mobile phones. Maybe you could pass the messages through the social media, like Phidias did. When you, Despina, when you began your career, did you ever imagine receiving an award from the IMO for promoting gender equality? What does this recognition mean to you personally?
Let me just start by saying definitely not. You know, early on in my career, I was trying to find my place in the industry, and that was technology in the end. But for sure, I never expected such a recognition, or any recognition for that matter. I think what I wanted back then was to make an impact. Not only about, you know, advancing diversity, which was very important to me, but also about embracing technology in the sector, because back then it wasn't as accepted, or we didn't view technology as we view it today. Being the first recipient of the award is definitely incredibly meaningful and deeply humbling at the same time, because it's not just about my journey, but it's about the collective efforts of the women and the men that are working every day to break down barriers in maritime. And I think the award in itself, the recognition from the IMO of the importance of diversity in the industry, I think it's proof that we're making real progress.
Thank you, Desmond. As board member of the Cyprus Shipping Chamber, do you see any genuine shift on how the industry embraces female leadership?
I have to say, having lived through 30 years of the Cyprus shipping industry and also being an active member of the Cyprus Shipping Chamber as a company, and also later as a board member, but also a member of various committees, comparing with then when I was the youngest person to join a committee of the chamber. And then halfway...
Female person, because at that time it was also myself joining at
You're
the same
older
time.
than me.
1 year,
You're older
2.
than me. So I was the youngest. We did that together. So, and then halfway through the 30 years, Despina sprouts, because it was like a blossom sprouting, and becomes the youngest person and first woman to become a member of the board of directors. And where we are now, that we have 3 women in the board of directors, and also seeing all our other women in the industry and how the companies are actually making big progress. We still have a long way to go. But we need to actually work on the women themselves rather than the industry, because I believe the industry is giving the platform, but the women don't believe, sometimes the women themselves do not believe that they can actually do it, or sometimes they don't want to do it. So we have to work with the women in parallel with working with the industry. But I believe we've made huge progress, and the chamber has been very, very supportive of women and of WISTA.
Yes, correct. And Natalia, what moment in your career made you feel that you had truly made it?
I'll start by trying to define what made it means, and hoping that I have a long way to go still. At this point, I would define it as probably feeling like what you do matters, that there is an impact and there is a lasting impact, I would say. So I'll mention 2 highlights, let's say, so far. One was being appointed as the COO at Todotheo Global. And it's not about the title, really. It never has been. It's about the acknowledgement and the trust that comes with the title, and the opportunity to actually apply your knowledge, your experience, your insights into making a strategy reality, and also leading a team, inspiring others, and allowing others to grow with you. And I think that really does give a sense of accomplishment. And the second highlight, which was something I will remember for a very long time, was the organization of the WISTA International Conference in Cyprus, which was in October last year. It was a milestone celebration. It was the 50th anniversary of WISTA International. It was a huge success. We had people from all over the world joining us. But what really stayed with me for WISTA and as part of WISTA was how the industry, the Cypriot shipping industry, embraced the event, how they supported us. The shipping deputy minister and the ministry all together had very actively participated.
Even the President of the Republic was there. Yes.
We had the President of the Republic attending. We had the First Lady joining us for a welcome dinner to the National WISTA Association President's Dinner. We had the Commissioner for Gender Equality participate also very actively. And this really does empower WISTA and enhances the capability of WISTA to really affect lasting change and institutional change. And Cyprus is really, I am very proud that we got to show what Cyprus can do for this sphere of activities, let's say.
Thank you, Natalia. Anna, as the current president of WISTA Cyprus, what legacy do you hope to leave through your term?
Thank you. Bit heavy question, but as president of WISTA Cyprus, my goal is to leave a legacy of connection and increased visibility. I want to help create an even stronger and more inclusive platform, one that promotes leadership education, builds meaningful networks, and also give the confidence for more women to step into leadership roles. Being the fourth president now, and continuing the incredible work done by all these women before me, I see this as a long-term journey. I believe that each one of us builds on the foundation that's led before us,
Yes,
and this is very important. So,
but you need to add also your little rock into that as well, little stone, to show the difference as well.
exactly, if I can promote greater visibility and connection.
Good. Last question to all of you. How has your involvement with WISTA Cyprus influenced your efforts to promote gender equality in the maritime sector? Starting with you, Minister.
If you had asked me what is the first thing that I remember when I took over, the answer would be WISTA Cyprus. They embraced me. They made me understand that I truly had an ally in what I was going to do and face. And I think what was heard before, that the president and the first lady and all the government has set gender equality on the top of our priorities. And we are here to make such policies that, as a government, that will help the industry evolve and to be a country that will inspire other countries to follow our example. And I think this is the most important thing, to make your voice to be heard internationally, the one that I said before. And I'm sure that with WISTA Cyprus, will be not an obstacle, but it will be an asset for us. And we are very, very grateful to each and every one of the women here today, Anna, Despina, Anna and Natalia, that have helped. It's not a small part of what they have played, but they have shaped the whole industry relating to gender equality, relating to the rights of the women. And I'm very, very proud that I'm the shipping minister of Cyprus, and I have women next to me helping me to promote all these policies.
Despina, WISTA International and WISTA Cyprus as well as president. Please, your comment on that.
My involvement with WISTA in general, firstly as president of WISTA Cyprus and then as president of WISTA International, I think it's been central to my efforts in promoting diversity in the industry, and it's actually given me the platform to collaborate with people that are equally passionate about change in the industry, but it also gave me access to make changes in policy, which was very important to me, to create opportunities for others, but also to make sure that we create a more advanced and more diverse sector around the world. On a personal level, WISTA has definitely given me a powerful network, but it has also reinforced my belief that diversity and equality, it's not just a good cause, which it obviously definitely is, but with diversity we're also able to create an industry that is more resilient, that is more innovative, and an industry that can thrive.
Anna?
I because of age, I kind of I did things the reverse way. Because, when my generation started entering the industry, we were kind of solo players. We were doing everything solo. We were trying to break barriers solo because there were not that many of us. There was very few women in the industry. I had the additional privilege of being a co-founder of my own company, and that in a way accelerated me into the whole thing, because that gave me access to committees, to boards, as opposed to having to work my way through a company of another 40, 50 people or 100 people. So that kind of gave me a quick start. So when I came into WISTA, or rather when I was under duress,
Let's put it
brought
this way.
into WISTA, and I'm looking at Despina. It was kind of the other way around. And to be honest, when you do things solo, and also because it was my company in which I was a partner, and the focus was elsewhere rather than on me achieving things as a woman, the rest kind of came naturally. Going into WISTA had a dual role for me. I hadn't realized that coming into WISTA, having done the solo journey, was actually inspiring to people, which I used. But at the same time, it was very inspiring for me to see what was going on out there, not only in Cyprus in the industry, but also in other countries, because we're quite spoiled and privileged in the Western countries, because we have achieved, we've reached goals, we've come halfway, and we tend to we're in our own cocoon sometimes, and we tend to ignore how underprivileged are some women in other parts of the world, or even within our own country in other industries. So WISTA gave me the platform to develop that and try to empower other women and try to inspire other women and bring other women into the industry, but at the same time acknowledge the problems that they were facing and use my solo journey as a platform, e.g. through the chamber, to help them.
Excellent. Natalia, I think you covered already the question with the previous answer, but I give you also 2 minutes to conclude.
I'll try to add something to that in that case. For me, it was very enriching, obviously very rewarding, but it was also very humbling. It is hard work.
Yeah.
It is very hard work, and everybody here is smiling because they know the work that goes into this, the time that goes into this, and the energy that goes into this, on top of your day job. To really take actions and do things that inspire others and inspire lasting change. And I keep coming to this because being part of WISTA or promoting gender diversity is not a marketing campaign that is going to last for a few months. It's something that really needs the infrastructure and the policies and the mindset and the whole of the industry and all the stakeholders to believe in order for it to last. So it's not going into this all idealistic and trying to change the world with solo. It's not gonna cut it. So collaboration, open mind, always thinking of the other perspective as well, and small steady steps, I think, are the key to get us the right way.
Anna, as the current president of WISTA Cyprus, you have comments?
Well, my journey, it's no different than the previous year. Maybe some different context, but very similar, but it has been transformative. And of course, I want to stress the fact that it's one thing to advocate on your own for change, but totally different, far more powerful to be part of a collective that actively drives change. It's very important. WISTA gives us a voice, and very importantly, gives us a seat at the table, at the decision-making table.
Yes.
And this is especially important today because, you know, we see globally the climate is changing in terms of DEI efforts are being questioned. And I'm very happy to hear from the minister that, you know, the Cyprus administration keeps that on top of the agenda because, I mean, in some regions and sectors, DEI is now being, you know, scaled down. So, yeah, or even cut, So, and this actually highlights the importance of independent and industry-led organizations like WISTA, because we don't wait for permission to push for growth. We lead it collaboratively and consistently. It is an amazing journey and a journey of transformation.
Thank you to all and each one of you. It was an excellent opportunity to bring you all here together. Difficult, but it managed to make it happen. Thank you all for watching our first special event, The Voices of Women in Maritime, and look forward to see you again. Thank you.